Bookworms. I've just read a book and it is somewhat like the classic scene from Forrest Gump, where a guy just keeps on walking and walking and walking until he doesn't walk no further. Bookworms, welcome to the Weekend Readers Book Club. Thank you for joining us. In this episode, we are discussing the book entitled The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce. The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry was originally released in 2012 and was a nominee for Best Fiction for that year. The story itself revolves around a gentleman named Harold. He is a retiree. He receives a letter in the mail from a long-lost friend. He decides to write back to this friend, and as he takes a unusual walk to the postbox, yes, this is back in the time when people send letters to each other via actual mail, he decides, no, I'm going to walk to the next post shop. Then he walks to the next post shop and he goes, no, I'm going to go walk to the next post shop. And what entails is his humongous walk. I'm going to say 400 kilometers. That may be completely incorrect and my math is out. But basically, Harold walks from town to town to basically go see the person that he's friends with and see them in person, all by walking. It's literally the Forrest Gump walk. In addition to Harold's story, you have his wife's story, and you also pick up the story of Harold and the lady that he's going to meet, which is his long-lost friend, and you also experience Harold having time to himself walking as he himself is doing it himself. His wife's not doing it. His wife's at home. He's walking, thinking about his relationship with the wife, thinking about the relationship with the friend that he's going to see, and thinking about the relationship that he's lived in relation to his own life and his child. So I finish The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce, and these are my thoughts. Now, I'm correct in saying this book is literally like the Forrest Gump walk. Harold walks 600 kilometers from one side of England to the other to go and meet his long-lost friend Queenie, who is now in hospice and has died of cancer. Harold's embarkment is basically he can go there and somewhat believes that this pilgrimage may A, give her hope to stay alive, and B, she could possibly be cured by Harold turning up. I like the ideology of that in the sense that somebody may keep on fighting death to wait for somebody to visit them. I get that. The fact that the story involved Harold thinking that he could cure cancer by the walk, little bit far-fetched for me. In the book you meet Harold's wife, Maureen, and Maureen's character is a little taken back because literally Harold receives a letter from Queenie, who's dying of cancer, and then all of a sudden Harold's taken off on this long-ass walk, this expedition for 1,000 kilometers to see her. She's left somewhat picking the pieces up, and I enjoyed her character in the story because she somewhat goes through transformation of why is he doing this to, okay, I sort of understand and get why he's doing it. I've just got to let him do it. She goes through all the emotions, and it's really interesting to see. I really enjoyed in this book the storyline, especially about their child and how that impacts their current relationship now, be it themselves living as retirees, but also them as a couple, as husband and wife being retired. I'll be honest, the first probably 5 chapters, I was like, okay, he's going for a walk, this is getting a little bit repetitive, and I didn't know if it was going to hold my interest. By the end of it, in relation to what Harold gets up to, who he meets along the way, the book did hold my interest, but in saying that, it didn't completely move me where I'm in a position to rush out and go, hey, This book is absolutely amazing. Overall, for me, it was a decent read. Would I necessarily recommend it to somebody? Yeah, I would say yeah, if you're wanting quite an easy story to follow with basically somewhat three main characters. Queenie, the lady that's sick, Maureen, the wife, and Harold, the husband. And then just supporting characters sprinkled throughout the story makes for an interesting read to read over a weekend. Now the question will be, will The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce be going onto my bookshelf? Unfortunately not. Now, I got given this book, so I'm actually going to pass it forward. I'm going to give this to my best mate, see if he wants to read it. Mike, this book's coming to you in your pile. So thank you to the book guy Brian. Yes, you're my book guy Brian, for giving me The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. Okay, read. Wouldn't rush out and read it again. Mike, this is coming your way. Now, as a customs here for the Weekend Readers Book Club, as one book closes, another book has to open, and it is now time to find out what the next read is for the Weekend Readers Book Club. And Bookworms, I am super pumped for this. Bookworms, we can confirm the next read is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, a novel by Gabrielle Zevin. Hopefully I've pronounced that surname correctly. Gabrielle Zevin, Z-E-V-I-N. This book, waitlist was super long for this. Managed to pick it up at my library, borrowed it, gonna give it a read. So tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, you are the next read for the Weekend Readers Book Club. So Bookworms, that was my discussion today on The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce. A book I enjoyed. A book that I will say is very English in relation, it's based in England, and his 2,000 kilometre walk goes basically town to town to town to town. So if you're English, you may actually enjoy, what Harold takes in along his journey in relation to each town or city he visits. But a book, yeah, as I said, I enjoyed. The pacing was okay. The story, I felt at the beginning was a little repetitive, but then it got there in the end, so it held my interest. Book, I wouldn't necessarily read again. I've read it once, happy to dust my hands with it. But yeah, a book I'll go through and donate. As always, Bookworms, we have got social media. You can find us on Goodreads and Instagram under the name Weekend Readers Book Club. We are also on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts from under the name The Weekend Readers. Until next time, thank you again for joining us, and Bookworms, happy reading.